Hi there. Join me for a fun and creative idea using the new Craft Your Life project kit, Illuminated Scenes, and we'll create a one-of-a-kind project. See you in a bit. Hi there, and welcome to a new episode of Inspired by a Car with Natalie. Today, we're going to be working with the new Craft Your Life project kit to create a new project. And it's actually, I love the set because it actually has two different ideas in one that complement each other nicely. So the stamp creates these kind of homey images that just illuminated on angles, but then the embossing folder and the die create these frames that you can actually create bevel edges to it. So I think it's a great way to create a project for your albums and also for your cars. So I hope you like this idea. I'm going to start by stamping the desk image that comes in the stamp set from the Crafty Life project kit, Illuminated Scenes. And the inspiration for this card, for this project actually, sorry, comes from the card inside the presentation pamphlet that comes in your kit. So I am using black obsidian pigment ink to stamp my image, and then I'm gonna start color. And then my pictures are black and white, so I'm gonna use the colors that are kind of similar to the ones that are in the card. So I am using dewdrops, aqualicious, and teal cave just to color kind of the illumination that comes from the light bulb. So I'm kind of following, like I said, the idea on the card. And I love the fact that it creates that ombre effect. I'm starting with dewdrops at the top, going to aqualicious and finishing with teal cave. And I'm going to add quite a bit of pressure exactly to the corners of this kind of, it creates kind of a triangle just to emphasize the shadow. Then I'm going to move on to lemonade stand to color the area that has the light bulb inside the lamp. Also a few other pieces in the desk. The next step actually is gonna color all the bookshelves. So I am using mocha. This is all fresh dye inks, and I'm using my different ink blending brushes just to add the color. Once again, I'm gonna go darker towards the outer edges of the bookshelves and the desk, just to kind of help with the idea of the illumination that's coming from the lamp. Now for the purple, I am using grape, I think it's agate. To add the color, I wanted like a not like a bright purple. I wanted something a little bit dimmer. And then I'm gonna use for my pink, for my chair, I'm gonna use mauve and berrylicious. I wanted to create that ombre effect. It's not an ombre. Think of it as just like the shadows or where the light is gonna hit. The top of the chair is gonna be lighter than the bottom. So I'm gonna try to mimic that. I don't do that great of a job in the chair as I did with the light. And then for my leaves, I am using fresh leaf. And then to finish, just for like, there's a few more pieces on my desk and so on, I'm going to use actually Sunkissed because I wanted a little bit of that kind of orangey yellow. And that's pretty much all the color you're going to see on my layout. So I'm going to set it aside to dry, and I'm going to start working on the frames. I am using the Crafty Life project kit Illuminated Scenes to cut two of the shapes. It's going to cut a few frames from brush gold metallic cardstock. You're going to see I'm going to cut two of them, and then I'm going to look for the frame that fits on my pictures. And I'm going to take that frame and put it through the 3D embossing folder, and it's going to create a beveled edges to my frame, which is going to make it look like exactly the ones you have in your house if you have them like that, where you frame your pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back those spaces with white cardstock. I am using sticky tape. This is a 1/4 inch sticky tape from Altenew. I'm going to glue it to the back of my frame, and then I'm going to trim my pictures a little bit smaller so that they fit nicely in the center of the frame. Once I have that, I'm going to do that to the two pictures. I have two. This is just how my work or my house looks like when I create a project. I have a table to create the videos, and then I have another table or my kitchen table, my diner table or my dinner table, where I actually do the editing and the voiceovers. So I have a paper for my background. This is just for my stash. I wanted something very simple. So with this soft gray, it has like a really thin, like kind of orangey line. It's barely noticeable. So my idea is I want to have my frames on the left. Kind of think of it, I'm creating kind of a wall on the background, and then contrast it with the color piece that I created with the stamp set. So that's going to go on the right. I don't want to it's going to be very simple, but I think it's effective because I have all the color on the right. That's going to be where my title and my journaling are going to sit. So I'm going to set it. I'm going to frame it because the idea is all to frame with the pattern paper. And then I'm going to take the frames and actually attach them on the left hand side of my spread, and I'm not going to put them side by side. I'm going to leave like a little bit of an offset when I put them together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a line on the top around an inch from the an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch from the top edge of the highest frame, and then I'm going to mark the middle point of the frame on that line. And then I am actually going to make the frames look as if they're hanging from the wall. So I'm going to use a little bit of metallic thread. I just had it handy. It's a little bit thicker than the regular thread. And then I'm going to use some enamel dots from the coffee break set from Altenew. You're going to see that I'm going to add a little bit of glue, attach my thread to the back of the enamel dot, attach it to that imaginary line that I created on top. You saw me pencil the dots, and then I'm going to glue the edges of the metallic thread to the back of the frame. So it kind of creates the hanging look of the frame on my paper. And I thought it sells the idea of like a wall, and it's going to work with the frame that you see on the desk. So that's kind of the idea, kind of mirroring the left to the right and taking advantage of all the pieces that come in this set. So you're going to see all I'm doing right now is just kind of gluing the pieces of metallic thread to the back of the frame, making sure that they're taut so they look like, they're actually holding the frame. I'm not the best at doing this, but I try my best. So once I did that, I cut the excess of the thread and I had them pretty much my project is done. I needed to add a title. Unfortunately, the sentiments that come in the stamp set didn't match the vibe of this. I wanted something that was more about work and creating, or snaps about it talked about it just didn't match the idea that I went for. So I just went for generic stickers that I have on my stash. I'm going to use black. I don't want to bring any color because I have all the color already on the right hand side, and that's where my title and my journal is going to be at the bottom. So I went with stickers that that were all black. And I added one to my frames. I added another one underneath the stamped image. And then I went and looked in my stash, and I found something that it kind of looked the same as the frames. I needed to fill that space that is below the left hand side frame, just so that everything looks like kind of gridded. That's the best way to describe it. And then just to finish this, I went into my Altenew enamel dots and all the little trinkets that I have, and I found the pearl dots. These are the satin gold pearl dots, and I'm just gonna add a few to the little title underneath the frames, and also to the title of the layout, just to bring more of the gold accent that I have on the frames onto the page, and just make sure that the two sides match each other. And that's about it. I actually love how this turned out. I looked at the cards in the pamphlet, and they all use the frame to actually kind of frame the image, but I wanted to just frame my pictures, and think of it as like a wall in my house, and then have something to match it to give that idea of a homey feel to it. And I hope you enjoy it. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you soon. Take care, guys.
Wait, we have more where that came from. If you're after fabulous card making tutorials, you are definitely in the right spot. Our amazing design team create and upload fabulous video tutorials right to this YouTube channel. If you don't want to miss another amazing crafting tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and click that fun red button that you can see. Let's become paper crafting experts together.